Hi there, welcome to episode 9 of my Dyson Sphere Program playthrough series. I'm Icon, and today we're going to create ourselves some fancy titanium alloy. Last episode we successfully created the structure matrices. I have also put up a manual supply of titanium for the time being now, so our yellow cubes are being created by a transportation by hand of titanium from one planet to another. And these alloy bars are going to be a fundamental step towards an interstellar logistics station, which will allow me to transport things from one planet to another autonomously. So that's why I'm after this stuff. We're going to create it out of titanium ingots. We already got those. Steel, we already got that as well. And sulfuric acid. That's where we have to work for. Sulfuric acid is being made out of oil, refined oil for that part, stone, and water. Water is easy to acquire, stone is easy to acquire, refined oil, well, I took the liberty of preparing a little bit of a refinery here before I started today's recording. I also piped up steel on this belt, so the only things left to do for us are now creating the sulfuric acid and putting up a couple of miners here. I didn't do that yet. So when we come up with the question of how much do we want, it's going to be all we can pack on a Mark I belt. It's about time for me to upgrade to Mark II belts as well, which carry way more material on one go, but one thing at a time. I didn't manage to build the necessary facilities yet, and well, let's see, it's 14 veins, that's 20 veins altogether. That's way more than will fit on one belt, but that's okay. I haven't produced the parts yet for the Mark II belts, but at the end of the day we can easily replace all the Mark I belts with Mark II belts. That's not going to be any big issue there after all. So let's put this all on a connector. Let's see, we're gonna drop down the splitter here, I'd say. And this is going to be the stone necessary for our sulfuric acid. Let's see, sulfuric acid is being made in chemical facilities. Do I have some of these right now? No, I have forgotten to prepare these. But nowadays, these processes are by no means that complicated anymore. We just produce these things out of the stuff in my inventory. Okay, now put up the stone. Very simple mining ops. Nothing special by now. We've done that several times. Okay. The neat thing about it, we're going to be needing the stone in raw form, so we don't need to put up a refining here in between. So now for the ratio. We have 4 units of sulfuric acid in 6 seconds. That's a pretty wacky ratio, and I've decided to go for 1/3 of that. So if you divide every number for 3, you get a lot of jittery numbers. So that's really bad, but I only noticed that I can provide, if I go for 1/3 of that, I can go with 2 units of oil per second. That's pretty neat. The rest of these things, well, I did the math. We're going to produce 1.33 units of sulfuric acid with that recipe, but I'm totally okay with that. We're just starting out here, and for better ratios and all these things, I'll put up larger facilities for that. Okay, but that mainly means we pretty much got all the things we already need together. So here's the stone, here's the oil, and now let's put up a water pump. Let's drop that down maybe here. And now, well, these dudes here. Sulfuric acid is a very pleasant material. It doesn't sound like that, but it's a very multi-purpose thing, and we're going to be using it for several things. I'd like to have a larger production of that, but you know, you can't have everything, I guess. So here we go. Stone is necessary in the largest numbers here. Okay. We're gonna be piping that stuff over here. Collides with other object. Don't lie. There we go. Now for the power question yet again. Oh yeah, this is looking good. And this is looking good as well. So, sulfuric acid, here we go. What's the neat thing about these? Most recipes are quite simple so far. Alright, so let's put up our sorters. And just shift copy that thing here. Boom. Okay, we got it. With that stuff being produced, there's now nothing in our way anymore. So we need smelting facilities and we need a lot of different materials here. So for starters, I don't think that we're able to put up more than 1 or 2 smelting facilities here. I'm gonna start only with 1 because I don't want to use up all the sulfuric acid. But you see, with one of these smelters, we would need to reduce the ratios to 1/12 of that, and that's where things get pretty iffy. But the most important thing is we have a little bit of a production of that titanium alloy. I plan to upgrade all these processes as soon as the interplanetary logistics are finally set up and running. Right now, I feel as if this is one of the most important things to rush, because as soon as the interplanetary logistics are down, I'm going to be able to work differently. I'm going to be able to outsource a couple of things onto other planets, which I right now need to do on one planet, which is fairly annoying. Alright. So, titanium, sulfuric acid, and next comes steel. So, we're gonna go this grid. Here we go. Merely a 3-ingredient recipe, nothing more. Okay, so the smelter is up. Let's put this down there. It's a very, very demanding recipe for sure. And putting up a large quantity production of that stuff, well, we're gonna be waiting for this a while longer. I'll probably do a large-scale production of titanium on a different world. I'd prefer to do this, for example, on a world where I got access to titanium and sulfuric acid directly. There are sulfuric acid oceans out there, you know? And with those, the production of titanium alloy becomes a lot easier. The Dyson Sphere program has a lot of these recipes where you suffer a lot in the production of goods if you produce them on the wrong planet. There's a lot of shortcuts. There's a lot of shortcuts in production recipes that you can only take if you have certain materials available. Okay, beautiful. We got that stuff now. This is a big leap forward, but this is not the only thing that I wanted to do. Luckily, there's plenty of episode to go. Wonderful. So, for the interplanetary logistics stations, we also need these purple canisters. Well, let's go down here. And these are particle containers. Particle containers are being produced out of a variety of different materials that we're not producing yet. Well, copper ingots are nothing new so far. Electromagnetic turbines, well, we do... I can't easily assemble them up there. I got everything I need for that. But what we don't have right now is graphene. Graphene is being made out of coal and sulfuric acid, and that's where the sulfuric acid comes into play a second time. But I definitely wanted to have the titanium alloy production first, because this way it can stack up while we're working. The coal for the energetic graphite will be gathered here, and I'll be producing my graphene over there. Alright. So I got no mining machines available. Let's produce a couple. And I'm going to do this quickly off cam, and we're going to return with those smelters set up with energetic graphite. I did that often enough. There's nothing new to see there. And there we go. Finest energetic graphite rolling off this band. So this is going to be the main ingredient of our graphene production, and the rest is just a teensy bit of sulfuric acid. So here's the same thing. We'd need 3, what's it produced at, chemical facilities for the maximum output. But for starters, I'm just going to be producing that stuff, so I got some of it, you know. Large-scale production schemes, they come all later here. So that means that graphene here should be just piped down here. Ooh, and boom. At least things are going more fluent by now. There we go. I'm a big fan of creating the basics as needed and specializing the facility later, because this way, when you're really new to the game, you can already learn how the stuff's made, learn if there's any hidden nastiness inside, although this game doesn't do this that often. But if you're insecure, if you have enough materials and whatnot, trying out a small-scale facility often gives you a pretty nice dip into the topic. But besides that, we really need larger production amounts to get the ball rolling there. Right now, our productions are really measly. I'm extremely happy that I got graphene at this point, you know. So, we're able to produce particle containers now. So, I could pipe the graphene up to my facility, but I'm not willing to. We're going to create a little electromagnetic turbine facility now at our main base, where I actually did some improvements in the couple of between the episodes. So we're producing now prisms and transforming them into plasma exciters. I am producing processors by now, and also microcrystalline components. These are all small things that I set up in between the episodes, because I figured a small stockpile of these items in your inventory goes a long way while handcrafting. So, electromagnetic turbines, we only need those coils and engines. Engines, I already got some here, and those coils are here, so we really don't need to do more than simply belt it down here, and it's as simple as that. Boom. Because we already got the other necessary part on the belt here, so I'm gonna be putting down the machine here, yeah, just like that. These are all small-scale solutions, but for a starter base, they just work awesome, in my opinion. Eh. Oh yeah, seems like I already did it. Only thing lacking now is the sorter for the output and a bit of power. But that should be the least of my worries. Okay, so now we got these electromagnetic turbines as well. These are, by the way, very, very interesting items. I knew that something here went wrong with that thing. These are very interesting items because they are necessary in the for the production of Mark II conveyor belts. So they really get interesting later down the road. And beautiful thing about the Mark II conveyor belt is it's really just normal conveyor belt plus these turbines. So since the storage is here, we're going to be able to do this in no time. But for now, I'm more interested in other things. So we're now perfectly able to produce the particle containers. We're also perfectly able to produce the planetary logistics system. So I'd say let's get towards there. For interstellar logistics, we'd need 2 of them. One receiver, one endpoint. And here, I gotta admit, frankly, I got no clue what I'm doing about this. So we're going to be picking up the processors now that I produced. And we're going to be picking up the electromagnetic turbines. And let's see, we should be perfectly able to create ourselves these particle containers there by handcrafting. I mean, sure, I could also just set up facilities and pipe that stuff around, but, you know, not actually that necessary right now. So here's also the titanium alloy we were craving for. I love it. So let's pick up a couple of extra magnetic coils there and the electromagnetic turbines. So with these things set up, a new age will be ushered in, because this will be a huge step forward. But unluckily, we're needing a ton of particle containers. So now that I think about it, I've changed my mind. We're gonna pipe that graphene up there. It might be pretty far away, I know, but at the same time, these particle containers are needed in such huge numbers that I don't want to be relying on handcrafting there forever. And with this game, the real beautiful part is that it's really easy to transport things from one part of the world to another. There we go. It's a spaghetti party, but you know what they say about spaghetti. It's delicious. And I'm new here, I'm allowed to do crazy things. Alright, so with the graphene wandering up there, we'll be able to do these things a lot faster. So, planetary logistics system, let's build one. While we're watching our little dronesies work. I'm out of fuel. That's unacceptable. Alright. So, let's pipe out them little dudes over here. Drop that stuff on a higher ground. And pipe it downstairs again. Angle too wide. Alright, there we go. So... now, we're only lacking the copper plates. It was copper plates, wasn't it? Yes. Okay. We're gonna be grabbing those from here, and voila. Job's done. That's been made in the assembler. Because I figured that when I saw the numbers we're gonna be needing, I was like, maybe I'm not gonna handcraft that stuff. So There we go. Just a container for these. The usual shenanigans. And let's restock our factory stuff there. Boom. There we go. So, planetary logistics stations can be used just like the interplanetary ones, but on a planet itself. I have no clue how much I'll utilize that in the longer run, but for now it sounds pretty interesting as well. But we're not going to be aiming for that. My interest lies in this beauty here. So, let's produce one of these. And wait a sec. I did produce this facility, so I don't have to handcraft that much. Okay, we're lacking steel for the other thing. Well, bit of handcrafting on the side here. Okay, well, since we're going to be needing lots and lots of these exciters, it's going to be not that much of a problem. No. Particle accelerators, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, here's some steel on the belt. Let's steal some steel, you know. And one day in the far future, we're gonna be placing down these things on. We're gonna be producing these things completely automatically. But we're still far away from that date, sadly. By the way, I started producing solar panels full automatically now too, so there's the expansion of my power grid is unstoppable. Alright, we're producing the interplanetary station now. Beautiful. But we're gonna be needing 2 of these, so let's not get too happy too early. No, there we go. But at least I'm going to be able to study how this works there for a moment already. Okay, graphene is going to be dumped in there. So, interstellar logistics station. Ah! Fancy small little thing. Bam! Alright, interstellar station, empty slot. Titanium ingot, remote supply. Remote demand. Maximum. Okay. Logistics drones are going to be used for... Okay. So we're going to need a logistics vessel there. And... let's see. Transport range of drones. Transport range of vessels. We're not going to be warping, so that's not going to be that much of an issue. And I'm pretty sure that these items will be transported to this thing. And they should act like storage thingies. So we have to produce one more of these, but also we'll have to produce one of these interstellar logistics vessels. So let's do this. Luckily, most of the items necessary for this I already am producing myself. Reinforced thrusters, here you see those turbines necessary yet again. They are quite omnipresent, as you see, but it's okay. Alrighty, so we're gonna be able to set this up. Wonderful. Wow, man, I didn't think that it would be that easy to get this far. I mean, on the other hand, let's not get too excited about all this. We're merely starting out. There's so many things to be done, and the ratios of this place are all really, really small. There's a lot of things still to be done. My science is a mess. But the most important thing is now I am able to transport goods from one planet to another, and that's what's been very, very, very important for me, because that means my intergalactic adventures are now much more doable without worrying about logistics that much. So, miniature particle collider. What's that? Deuterium. We're producing deuterium out of hydrogen? Yeah, that sounds like something that I definitely want to do. The necessary materials? I don't know one of these materials there. Never seen it before. Well, the information matrix is also one of the next technologies we're aiming for, but seriously, what's that stuff? Anywho, we're going to research that. So, let's just set up this thing. I want to be setting up the logistics station already, so max charging power 300 megawatt. Okay, so we're going to be needing a lot of power generation as well. But I want to be setting this up here already, and then we're going to be setting this up on the other planet. But I'm pretty sure the power generation on our planet here is not enough, and at the same time the power generation on the other planet neither. So that's why I feel like it's so freaking valuable to have these solar panel mass productions here running, so we can just plot down some extra solar panels around the polar caps. I really like this form of energy gain. We're going to be using the equatorial strategy soon as well, though, because that's actually a really good one too. And oh, need foundation support. And it's actually a lot easier with the equatorial belts. The polar belts are quite finicky, not gonna lie. Getting your connection up like that can be, I don't know. Sometimes I really am quite unhappy with how hard it can be to convince your solar panels to rack up like I want them to. And here's a little mistake in my circles, but that's okay. So I hope that's going to be enough enough power. The other option I see there that we could do, or well, no, another thing that's crossing my mind, that's how I want to put it, is that I could use now planetary drones to transport the titanium to somewhere else. I really like how this game works with logistics, and we now have also access to other planets. It's much more interesting now to go towards Cabellicid 1 and check out what's there. I mean, there's not only titanium there, there's also a abundance of iron and copper ore. Imagine us just casually producing all these intermediate products like coils and whatnot on this other planet. Pretty neat stuff. We also have directly silicon ore. We could use that as well. So on the other side, there's Cabellicid 4. Cabellicid 4 has a lot more silicon than the other planet, but it doesn't have oil. So any oil industry is totally not possible on a different planet than Cabellicid 3. So that's a little bit sad, but what can I do? Cabellicid 2 is an ice giant. You see, you can collect fire ice there and hydrogen. I have no clue how good that works. I've never came that far. But as far as I know, we can, let's see. Compass, no. Star map, no. Ah, here. So this is not the only system we can go for. I'm not sure how smart it is to stay in the same system from the beginning. I mean, we got a lot of other places to go for. Ah, I just zoomed out to the Milky Way. Well, that's a good outro picture for today, because I want to try out the interplanetary logistics things off camera and experiment around a little bit so I can show you this stuff. better instead of filming just my fidgeting around with that stuff. That's not that interesting, I'd say. Alrighty, my good friends, so let's ogle at the Milky Way for a moment, and I'd say thanks for watching, dear friends. It's been a little bit of a shorter episode today, but we're gonna get there. Next episode, we're gonna set up the logistics systems, and I'm not sure where I'm headed from there. It's beautiful, isn't it? And all these little dots, that's all frickin' Dyson spheres. There's been 516,000 Dyson spheres built so far. Isn't that insane? With these thoughts, I'll leave you guys for today. Drop me your comments down below. Leave me a thumbs up. And of course, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. There's daily content coming up from my side. I'd be delighted to have you. See you soon, and have a good one. Bye-bye.